This is the big one. This is the big lie. This is the one. This is big. So, notice that there's also no Antarctica in the UN map. And Antarctica is so important to these people that no one's allowed to go in the whole world. No human being is legally, look it up, no human being is legally allowed to go on an expedition in Antarctica. You're allowed to go to a few spots that have been approved. So Antarctica, because of its ecological reasons, you're not allowed to fly over it. You're not allowed to take a four-wheeler or a snow buggy. You can't even use dogs. And if you do, you have to pick up the dog shit. This is all real. Put it in hazmat suits. Because apparently during the 1950s, everyone was so just concerned about the penguins. Not Korea, Vietnam, Cuban Missile Crisis, all the wars, all the people dying, the 80-something thousand Americans who died in Vietnam. No, it's about the penguins. What about the penguins? They don't want to have to hear the hum of a flight 35,000 feet above them. If anyone studied this, it's me. There is no commercial flights over Antarctica. None. And you're not allowed to take any of your own planes over Antarctica. None. And the reason? Environmental. It's such bullshit. Just because it's not, guys, it's clearly not a spinning globe. The odds are zero. None. And I know that hurts people and they feel shame and anger. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. It's not true. And it costs a lot of people their entire lives of nonsense. 1950 treaty happened after World War II. Think Hitler has anything to do with Antarctica? Yep. Hitler went to Antarctica. A lot of these dudes, one of the reasons that there's this one world global banking system, guys, so much of this shit is just about the shape of the earth. It's like realm earther, right, realm. I don't know what it is. When you say flat earth, it immediately evokes something stupid. That it's just this like flat thing in space and people can walk off it. That's an image that's stupid. And it's not real. What is it? I have no idea. I tend to lean towards biblical explanations. But it's clearly not what they say it is. It's a realm. It may be infinite. I don't know. It's all ridiculous. Hitler sent submarine fleets there. Yeah, Hitler was obsessed with the ice wall. Oh, and just so happens, it just so happens that the Antarctica, even like according to the scientists, wink wink, is higher than all the continents. So the highest level of land in the world is Antarctica. Why does this matter? Because it sounds almost like an ice shelf. Like it's the rim. You can't get a permit from the government to go to Antarctica and just have an expedition with like just yourself. I mean, we don't want to trash it. Let's just go to Yosemite and cover it with shit. You should crowdfund own the plow. No, it's illegal. Guys, you can't I looked into it. I'm a blood relative of Clark from Lewis and Clark, guys. I got exploring in my DNA. You don't think I'm looking into Antarctica? I'm not allowed. You have to ask the DOJ permission to go, and then they deny the mission. It costs $2 million just to apply. You're not allowed to use a snowmobile, a car, a plane. And if you use dogs, you have to pick up all of their urine and feces. And then they make it open to the public so that any third party can sue you for environmental reasons and not allow you to go. I've been looking into Antarctica, guys. You're not legally allowed to go to Antarctica. You could crowdfund me $1 million and they would shoot me on sight. Because I looked into the penalties, like what's the worst thing that happened? Just go, don't ask permission? No, they kill you. They kill you, there's bases there. It's shoot on sight. Look it up. shoot. It's as if you're going into a military base, the entire continent of Antarctica. And the treaty was signed in the 1950s between the United States and Russia, before environmentalism existed. Before environmentalism existed, they were worried about them happy feet. In 1959, after World War II, during the Cold War, while Stalin was still in control, America and USSR signed a treaty, not for the, all the wars they were proxy wars they were doing, that no one was allowed to go to Antarctica. And then even if you go, there's a bunch of countries like New Zealand, Argentina, UK, a bunch of countries that have rights to different sections. So even if your Department of Justice allows you to go after you spend the millions of dollars, no one sues you, you get approved years later, any of those countries can then evoke their right to not allow you on their land. It's insane. It gets even crazier. The whole world. It's a treaty signed by like 100 countries. Like the only thing people can agree on is that Babylonian magic squares are great and no one's allowed in Antarctica. And okay, this is when things get even crazier. John Kerry, on the night of the election in 2016, went to, can anyone guess? Antarctica. This is public knowledge. You can look it up on his Wikipedia page. There is elements of hiding in plain sight in this stuff.
Unlike most destinations, you can't just hop off a commercial flight. Unless you're an elite scientist or an emperor penguin, exploring the Antarctic is forbidden. Temperatures of negative 130 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 90 degrees Celsius. In 1957 and 58, a bunch of countries came together and were like, you know what, we love what this new research is showing and we need to protect Antarctica. So, the Antarctica Treaty was created. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means that smarty-pants scientists in lab coats can venture into the icy abyss for research purposes. For the rest of us, there are exceptions, of course. We can, for example, head to the Antarctic waters on a cruise ship. Can we set foot on the land as well? Technically, yes. There are a few landing spots along the peninsula, but compared to the entire continent's mass, it isn't even a sliver.
We're allowed to go to a few spots that have been approved.
So we know we're not allowed to wander around the frostbitten land of Antarctica, but why exactly is that? First and foremost, it's for the protection of the environment. It makes sense, too. The world's southern tip is a place overflowing with biodiversity. There's endemic species. So what would actually happen if we did try to visit Antarctica? If you break the rules,
you are shot on sight.
Since the infrastructure around the South Pole is next to none, we have to avoid it in the name of safety. Of course, that rule usually only affects commercial jets. Chartered jets can still come and go to bring staff to the research bases.
Do I need to explain it again? Like, is it repetition that people need?
For most of us, protecting the environment and ourselves is the whole story. However, for a select few, it's believed that there's some rather shady stuff going on behind that ice wall. As you can see, it's completely visible on Google Maps satellite view, so if something shady was going on, it must be rather well hidden. Perhaps this giant alien face-like structure could be a sign of the unknown? We won't delve too deep into other theories, but they do include a supposed hidden fortress used in World War II, claims that an ancient civilization once lived down there, and of course the idea that it's the gateway to the end of the world because the world is flat. Yeah.
That's an image that's stupid, and it's not real.